Hey and welcome, Hammeh here. In this video, as always, a quick roundup of some Overwatch news from the last few days that may have slipped under your radar. PTR changes have come through with buffs to Zarya and Reinhardt, some interesting tweaks to McCree and Reaper and more. The Overwatch League's first 7 teams have been announced, find out about the cities and what's going to be coming later this year. The punishment system is going to be getting a little bit of a tweak, and Jeff shares a few map win rates in quick play only, but there's some interesting things there. Timecodes in the description below to skip, and as a quick reminder, you may have missed my Genji new deflect lines and interactions video, so please do check it out if you have the time. Link here at the end of the video. There's a giveaway from HyperX2, so do check it out. More Overwatch lore coming with you in the next few days. Okay, on with the news. Firstly, a raft of changes inbound to the PTR. Reinhardt's been having a bit of a rough time as of late, some of his bugs stacking up on him, and his Hammeh just not really feeling as mighty as it used to before. He's had his swing speed increased by 10%, and there have been some other tweaks to make it feel a little bit better in terms of making contact with enemies. Now, Reinhardt's Hammeh, you were having to wait until the very end of its swing pretty much, and making sure that that was on top of the model to actually get the hit. Very different to before when you were just swinging it in front of you. So hopefully this is going to make Rein feel a little bit more dangerous at close range, rather than flailing around with his Hammeh in midair. There's also been a bit of a tweak to charge abilities, with Doomfist's charge impacting another charging hero like a Doomfist or Reinhardt will no longer deal damage to both characters but still causes a knockdown on both. So previously when two Reinhardts hit each other there'd be damage going both ways. With Doomfist's additional charge, this is going to be interesting to see if you can maybe time a counter charge right but not get that damage penalty for doing so if you're the initiator. Over to Zarya, and she's got what is a pretty sizable buff if it goes through to Graviton. Now this disables all movement abilities of affected targets, kind of similar apparently to how Junkrat's trap works. So, Mercy trying to Guardian Angel away? Nope. Genji dashing? Nope. Tracer blinking? Nope. And all of these kind of things. At this point, Dive is pretty popular with your Winstons and Divas flying around, Divey, fast-moving DPS, Zens and Lucios mostly following up, from pro level right down to the middle echelons of the ladder. Now, Zarya being able to do this and sticking all of these people in one place feels very, very anti-dive. She is going to see, if this change goes through, quite an uptick in terms of her popularity of picks, so keep an eye out for this and also be mindful of her other counters. One thing's for sure, if you can stick a Mercy inside your Graviton, it's going to be a lot easier to prevent that reset from her Resurrect. Be interesting to see if this one makes it through PTR. What do you think of this change? I think it could be very, very interesting, but we're going to have to get used to Zarya in our lives if it does go through. Little tweak for McCree, his flashbang now slows targets significantly when they are stunned, meaning they're less likely to slip away around corners, be moving away and similar. So this is really helping McCree set up a little bit. You're going to be able to go for those flashbang headshots a little bit more. Reaper's Shadow Step has had its VO and SFX distance dramatically reduced, so Reaper is not going to be shouting to the whole map that he's repositioning. So our resident edgelord can be that little bit more stealthy. Reaper's actually having a little bit of an uptick in play at the moment from various reports, so it's good to see that he's being nudged a little bit more in the right direction. Good quality of life change there. As for Doomfist, given that Seismic Slam's damage actually changes depending on how high you're falling from, this is quite useful to know how much damage you're actually going to be going. So a few changes there. Maybe we're going to have some more Deathball-y compositions coming back together. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Good news on the Overwatch League. There was an announcement the other day that the first 7 international franchises and cities have been announced. Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Orlando, San Francisco, Shanghai and Seoul, Korea are all going to be having the first teams. The New England Patriots and Kraft Group CEO Robert Kraft is going to have the Boston-based team, while the New York Mets COO Jeff Wilpon will field the New York team. Immortals CEO Noah Winston, Misfits Gaming CEO Ben Spunt, and NRG's esports founder Andy Miller have got the LA, Miami, Orlando and San Francisco slots respectively for their organisations. So a nice mix of traditional sporting organisations in the US certainly there, along with existing esports organisations. As for China and Korea, well, Chinese internet company NetEase, who run World of Warcraft for Blizzard in China amongst other games, is going to take the Shanghai slot. And for Korea, Kabam co-founder Kevin Chu will be having that one. The league is apparently still on course to launch later this year, with more organisations to be announced. The first season is going to be played at an esports arena in Los Angeles to give the organisations time to get their infrastructure set up, while still getting the matches going. A bit of good news in the press release. Now, skins, both local and online only fans, are going to be able to earn Overwatch League team branded skin sprays and player icons. So this is good news for Overwatch and the sustainability of this kind of system. Teams need to be able to share in the profits of any kind of league. Riot for League of Legends have only really introduced this a bit more in the last year or so, despite the game being around for a bunch of time, and this model's worked well in Smite and other things. So good news there, as well as maybe for you collectible fans. Now for those of you wondering what about Europe, well there's a lot of factors in play here. I'm not going to go into a big ramble on esports, finance and commerce, or what I know about it anyway, but I'm sure that other teams are going to be announced before the season starts. Blizzard have said that, and also America, China and Korea are really logically, commercially sensible places to start off if you're starting with a bunch of core teams. We'll see what other organisations come on board. Also, don't forget that there is a degree that Blizzard are trying to set a higher bar to get a bunch of money in to make sure that these organisations are sustainable and in it for the long term. Although $20 million is a lot to you and I for sure, for an owner of an organisation like an American football franchise or maybe a soccer club or football club, the real football, they could spend $20 million on a player's wages for a few months or on an initial contract, for example. So this sounds like a lot for esports, and it is, but it's encouraging this additional level of investment. So maybe we're just waiting for some of the European sides to step up and confirm these deals. I know not all of you are into esports, but the Overwatch League succeeding is really important for the health and the general goodness of Overwatch in future. So if you don't watch esports, please do tune into it when it kicks off. And remember that the Overwatch World Cup's first qualifier is this weekend. It's going to be in Shanghai. Team France are playing, which is all of Rogue, which are a really quality team if you're not familiar with esports. So do check out the Overwatch Twitch account and try and tune into some of the games if it works for your time zone. You'll really enjoy it. Okay, last couple of bits of news. The punishment system changes are incoming, according to Jeff. Now, people have been feeling a lot of fatigue with Season 5 in general for several reasons. And part of this is increased or perceived increase in misbehaviour of people, and people wondering whether these reports that we're submitting about players who might flame or troll are actually being taken action on. So it's going to be interesting to see what these changes do. I think that all in all, Overwatch is entering that difficult third album kind of territory in terms of what it does with competitive and what it does with ranked after it's been live for a year. So I'm really hoping that this is going to give us a lot of confidence in the fact that our reports are going somewhere and that we can see measurable action being taken against players who are spoiling the game for others. Do you feel that Season 5 has been worst? I'm thinking about having a little bit of a ramble on it in a separate video on its own and sort of breaking it down and analysing it, but let me know your thoughts if you've been playing Season 5 competitive in the comments. Last but not least, Jeff actually released some stuff on the forums on map win rates. Now, although these are in quick play and it would be interesting to see the competitive versions, it's interesting to see that in the quick play iteration how 50-50 most of these are, with the exception of Horizon Lunar Colony. Now that's interesting, it's the newest map. I'm guessing that a lot of people still aren't used to it. It does feel a bit better for the attack, but maybe we haven't quite learned to defend it yet. So it'll be interesting to see if any tweaks to Horizon come based off the back of this in future. Thanks for tuning in to this Overwatch News Roundup. Throw a like or a sub if you enjoyed. It really helps me out. And do check out my latest lore, voice lines and interactions videos in these playlists here. As always, Overwatch lore vids will be dropping in the next few days, as well as a few new things that I'm going to try, all Overwatch related this time. Do check out all of my regular Overwatch lore videos, interactions, voice lines and series here too. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.